Hello everybody and welcome back to the second shelf. My Books Weekly video will be uploaded later today, but first I have a tag video for you, the AuthorTube Newbie Tag, because there's a new splinter group on BookTube or YouTube, and that is AuthorTube. So for everybody who writes and wants to make videos, please join this new group, AuthorTube. The announcement video by Lily will be linked down below, and also the original tag, which was created by Jenna the Dark One, and I was tagged sort of by Steve over at Steve Donahue because he tagged everybody who writes, so I considered myself tagged. And I think it's a really fantastic idea to bring those people who make videos on BookTube or YouTube together if they write, because I'm sure we can share experiences and troubles and frustrations. So let's get on with the tag. First question, how did you find out about AuthorTube? I found out about it by Steve's video, the AuthorTube Newbie Tag, which he did last week. And then I checked out the announcement video and other AuthorTube videos. Question number 2, which genres do you write in? Well, I write literary fiction under my own name, and I write crime under a pen name, Britta Bold, together with another writer, Rodney Bold, and I also write non-fiction. The non-fiction I write mostly in Dutch, although I started a non-fiction book in English this year. The literary fiction under my own name I write in German, that's my mother tongue. And the crime novels we write in English. So that's sort of quite a mix of genres and languages. And I should also add that this year, for the first time, I'm participating in NaNoWriMo, National Novel Writing Month, and I took the opportunity to try something completely different with genres, writing science fiction. So we'll see how that goes. Question number 3, what is your preferred tense point of view category? Well, the non-fiction, that doesn't apply here, but with fiction I almost always write in a third person closed, past tense, and the category is adult fiction. Question number 4, are you a plotter, a pantser, or a planter? For those of you not familiar with these categories, a plotter is somebody who, before starting to actually write, is outlining the book, the plot, the scenes, the background of the characters, the world, if fantasy is written. So in quite some detail has an idea what the book is about and where it's going. A pantser is the absolute opposite of that. That's a person who basically sits down and writes without much of an idea what the book is about or where the book is going. And a planter is a combination of the two, plotter and pantser. So for me, I would say in my heart, I'm a plotter because I'm an obsessive list maker. I make lists of everything, and before I write fiction, I always sit down and make notes. I do research if it's something historical or some other detail I need to research. I make an outline of the plot, of the characters, basically of everything. But when I'm writing, while I'm writing, I change things because the plot I had in mind doesn't work, or I need to add another character, leave somebody out. So I'm a planter, a combination of plotter and pantser, but with more weight on the plotter side. Question number 5, are you published, self-published, or yet to be published? I'm a published author. I published my literary fiction and the crime fiction I wrote, and also the non-fiction. And for those of you who are interested, links to the books are down below, and that also relates to the next question, number 6, which publishing company you're with which agent you are with. All my literary fiction is published by a Dutch publishing company. They have the world rights to it. although I write in German, so the books first have to be translated into Dutch before they are published in Holland. The crime fiction we write in English, so we have an agent, because in the Anglo-Saxon world you need to have an agent, obviously, if you want to have a conventional publisher being interested in you. So we have an agent in Amsterdam who takes care of our crime novels. For the rest, I don't have an agent, because in continental Europe it's not necessary per se to have an agent if you want to approach a conventional publisher. But for the future, I'm considering, at least with some books that I'm now writing, I consider self-publishing, especially one of the non-fiction books that I'm working on in English. But I haven't really delved into self-publishing, so I'm not sure yet. Question number 7. What AuthorTube related videos can we expect from you? To be honest, I don't know yet. I think that depends a bit how AuthorTube develops, because making vlogs, for instance, of your writing process is extremely boring. You just sit there and write for hours, hopefully. So you can't really do something with the process as such. But maybe videos about books that I'm working on, or theme-related books about plotting or about difficulties that I encounter. But like I said, this is just, there's some ideas, and AuthorTube is really new, so I will have to see how that whole AuthorTube things develops in order to know what kind of videos I want to make. Question number 9. When did you start writing? I started rather early, when I was in my teens, like a lot of people, having all these fancy and fantastic ideas about writing, and I wrote really, really bad poetry for a while. But I didn't pursue writing as a career or as something serious. I went to law school, I became a lawyer, I had my own law firm, I worked as a lawyer for over 25 years, and I did write during that time, but mainly non-fiction. My non-fiction books in Dutch during that time are all work-related, about the cases I did, about the work as a lawyer, and I only started writing seriously again 5 or 6 years ago, when I quit being a lawyer and started to write, and then I wrote my first novel, The Decision, and now I'm really consider myself a writer and not just writing on the side. Next question. What was the first story you've ever written? That was, I think, after the very, very bad poetry, I started to write short stories, and I wrote a story about a very bleak and desolated train journey, because I've been on the train a lot during that time, and I still have it. It's in the box with all the stuff that I've written over the years, but I've never worked on it after that, and it has never been published, and it will never be published. Question number 10. What authors have inspired your writing? That's a difficult question to answer, because I think with most people who write, almost everything you read in one way or another inspires your writing. Either you learn something from it, or you learn something that you don't want to do. So that's a bit a tricky question. But if I look at the kind of writer I wanted to be when I was young, and I think still want to be, then I'm inspired by those writers who tackle also social or political themes, and then I'm thinking of Susan Sontag, or maybe even more Mary McCarthy. So people who write fiction and non-fiction and are also engaged in a social or political debate. And Looking at style, I would say that Dorothy Parker is somebody who I have admired from a very, very young age. Her short stories are such gems, and she can write so dense and to the point. So that inspired me to look at writing, I think, although I will never be able to write like her, and I shouldn't, because you should obviously develop your own style. Question 11. Do you schedule your writing time, or do you write whenever you can find the time? Well, since I had the last 5 years that I'm always working on a project, on a book, I have fixed writing times. In the mornings, after coffee and doing a little bit of social media, I always write for about 3 to 4, sometimes a little more, 4 hours or a little more. And then I write again in the evenings. So let's say from late afternoon, 4 or 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then another 3, sometimes 4 hours. So those are my fixed writing times. Question number 12. How do you write? So on a computer, on a typewriter, you write by hand, or a combination, and where do you write? So I write here on that, at that desk, always, and I write, if I'm writing the actual book, I'm writing on the computer, but my notes, the outlines as a plotter, I do by hand on notebooks. So it's a combination, but the actual book is always written on the computer, and I always write at my desk. Last question, number 13. What are you looking forward to now that you are part of AuthorTube? I really hope to meet other writers, because writing is a very, very solitary endeavor. You don't have a team working with you, although I have to say that's not entirely true, because the crime novels I write with somebody else, and that's fantastic, because you can share things. So I really hope to meet other writers, to exchange ideas, to exchange experiences. That's what I hope AuthorTube will be. And this also means that I hope a lot of you who write and who make videos will join AuthorTube. And also, if you are interested, consider yourself tagged. I want to tag a couple of people specifically, because I know that they write. And that's Didi from Brown Girl Reading, Max from Well Done Books, Sophie over at Sophie Carlon, Chris from the Reading Roads, and Ariel Bazette, and also Olivia Pope. Please join AuthorTube, and I hope you will do the tag. So this was it for the AuthorTube Newbie Tag. I hope you've enjoyed it, and thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!